The final reveal of the VW ID.7, Volkswagen's new big electric sedan. Will it crush the competition like Tesla, Hyundai or also the German competition? We will find out here with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with the front, which has the light strip that goes all the way through. You have this retro VW logo right here. And of course also the main headlamp unit with matrix LED available. This color here is Aquamarin Blue. Very nice subtle blue color, but also a little bit brighter when the light shines on it. But we also have a white car for you here available on location, just that you can see the difference. Main design thing is of course aerodynamics, supposed to be very efficient, and in our first test drive we could indeed achieve really good consumption figures, some 4 miles per kilowatt hour or some 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That will lead to great range, at least in ideal conditions. More to that later. You can see it also design wise here. This bow is also standard, a good contrast then to the blue color. Really stretched wide out, but will it also deliver enough legroom and also headroom? We're going to find out. The wheels, either 19-inch or here the optional 20-inch wheels. These are then the optional, the biggest ones. They have somewhat an aerodynamic design, but not too much, so not too much over the top, I think. So design-wise, you can see aerodynamics is the thing, and also a very clean design indeed. And it also comes quite close to the initial concept car. The length here is 4 meters 96 or 195 inches, so indeed a full EV or full-size EV sedan. Towards the rear we can see this light strip goes all the way through right here, a three-dimensional design. Here this side reminds me a little bit of Tesla Model S, right? And indeed they want to fight Tesla Model S and Tesla Model 3, size-wise already against the Model S, price-wise against the Model 3, because the entry version is supposed to be way below 60,000 euros or dollars with the small battery. Talking about small battery, 77 kilowatt hours net. That is the battery we know already from the ID.4, for example. And then there will be a bigger one available, 86 kilowatt hours net. And really looking forward how that one will end up as for the, consumption results and range overall and so on. So with our tests so far, we could, calculating to the small battery, reach 500 kilometers or 300 miles, and with the big battery even 570 kilometers or 350 miles. But again, in ideal conditions, 20 degrees in Celsius or like 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That was actually perfect here for this EV. Very interesting. As for the facts and figures, let's talk about recharging. For the small battery, 170 kilowatt DC, 200 kilowatt DC. For the big battery, and then you'll have some 25 minutes from 10 to 80% state of charge. So the bigger battery can be reload or recharge quicker, although it is the bigger one. The smaller then probably something around 30 minutes. Have you seen that small red light in the last shots? I turned it off now. That was actually the rear fog lamp. Interesting, right? Talking about rear, it starts with rear-wheel drive, 286 horsepower. Later on there will be an all-wheel drive version available, probably a GTX. Acceleration figure here so far, it will be something less than 7 seconds to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. And what else? VW has worked on both suspension types, the standard one and also the optional DCC, dynamic chassis control, which is the adaptive suspension. And you can really pick a wide range on how you want it to rule, sportier or more comfortable. And in our first ride, that also worked very well indeed. Turning indicators, really impressive because they are very wide and indeed visible. I like it when the turning indicators are visible. That's just also a helpful safety feature when being on the road. What do you think about this? Tell me in the comments. And look at that, the rear turning indicator. Come around here, then you can see this 3-layer shape. That's a very interesting idea. And it also features a welcoming or goodbye signature. Here when I open the vehicle, look at that. Oh, that looks fancy. And you can actually pick 3 different stylings. This is number 3 now, the most extensive one, so to speak. When I close the vehicle, you can also change the waiting time for this when it dissolves. And when it dissolves, then once again, as a goodbye signature. There we go. And here, this is like the goodbye feature in the front, goes down. And when you open the vehicle again, you also once again have a welcoming signature here, goes up and illuminated in this cascading style. A short driving preview with the turning circle. Look at that. Rear-wheel drive, turning all the way in. And although this is a 5 meter, 195 inches vehicle, it's almost like turning on standstill. That's impressive indeed. Sumo driving. And here we have the ID.7 in Glacier White. It's a different contrast, especially contrasting with the black roof. Of course, more colors will be available. And also interesting, they start here with the fastback form, but in 2024 there will be the Estate. This will also be a quite exclusive EV Estate then. And the roof then will just continue right here. This one already being a fastback with a wide hatch opening. Soon more details to that, but the Estate of course will give you even more room. Also interesting how different the Glacier White vehicle looks like here from the side and also from the rear, and really good contrast with the red signature. And also when you come really close here at the side with the IQ light, the optional matrix LED, also different here with the white accentuations, and then they also correspond to the exterior color. Now to the key fob, this is the standard high gloss one. I think a new one would be more suitable. Then here flush door handles. They have some haptic feedback at the back part when you open it. And if everything should fail, there's still a manual facer that you can fold the whole thing up. Door closing sound. That could be better. I think a classic Golf door closing sound was better in that case. However, at the inside of the doors is great build quality. Structure on the top here, soft touch. Then here the high-grade leatherette, blue accentuation stripe. Interesting new solution here for the door handle. It opens already here, you know. So in the rear for the children, maybe not the best solution. And then the only thing I do criticize here, the window levers is good quality, but then you only have two and you have to press rear to change them in the rear. Some like it, some don't. What about you? Also here felt inside of this storage box. So I'm really happy with the build quality indeed. Then the first cockpit perspective, bright steering wheel, but you can also go for a dark one. In both cases, it's an animal-free material, both for the steering and for the seats. The dashboard here, soft touch with structure. Here, high-grade leatherette and black, the blue accentuation stripe, and it can easily catch up with the Mercedes interior or so. That's really astonishing, but of course here at the lower price. Then there are three different seats. A base fabric seat, then it has less accentuations, especially in the upper shoulder part. And this one here is the optional seat, Ergo Active, available in the comfort or the premium trim. And that defines how much seat massage cushions you have. Here in the premium trim, you also have seat massage cushions in the lower part. The other one just has them here. And this is a completely new seat massage system. Here also more shoulder accentuations. European markets will get this microfiber then in bright or in the black styling. And we expect for the American market to get a full high-grade leatherette that you can wipe seats then a little bit easier. But here this of course really cozy. The seats are great. I feel among best in segment and probably among the best in the EVs overall. So great comfort, still a lot of headroom here with the panoramic roof. I'll soon also show you how the headroom without the panoramic roof. This panoramic roof here is also special because it has the electrochromic function. And it means we have a slider here. I don't like sliders, but you can see it here. This is really cool. We know it from other vehicles, not completely new, but new for Volkswagen. Porsche used it before, for example, and then you can have view through or protection against the sun. Pretty cool indeed. And the steering wheel, manual control, up and down, in and out. I love the bright steering wheel, and the bright materials also have become more durable and so on. Overall, there's a high recycling share in this vehicle as well. So they're going all the way animal friendly and more sustainable, less use of resources, and in all trims, well done Volkswagen. Interior cockpit overview, clean layout indeed, horizontal stress, 15-inch screen, really large indeed, and you still have the temperature sliders. It will take one more generation of cars to go back to the physical knobs at Volkswagen. However, these are now backlit, and also the ambient lighting you can very well see at night, for example. That's pretty cool indeed. Then the shifting lever is here behind the steering wheel, the reverse, or then for parking. You can also go to the recuperation mode here. On the steering wheel, you have the hashtag capacitive BS buttons. They also have some kind of feedback. They're also backlit. That looks cool. but still not the best solution. But also from that, Volkswagen will go back once again. And then you have a small digital instruments here, not too much to see, but actually clear to read. And the focus is then the head-up display, which is standard equipment with also augmented reality function. The infotainment has this app overview, that's new and I think really helpful, and you see it's also more responsive than before, so definitely step up the game. Yes, the temperature is still controlled right here, or you can do it like this, so this would also be possible. And then you also have this menu for the seat heating or seat cooling. Really interesting that it has moist sensors, so when there's moist felt in the seat, the ventilation will automatically go on together with a little bit of seat heating. That's also pretty interesting. And then you also have this main overview, which you can individualize. You can have your own tiles there basically, so a lot you can do with that. But the most important thing is that it is more responsive. DCC, dynamic chassis control, is the adaptive suspension, is also an option, and you can individualize that and then really fine-tune it also in which area this suspension is supposed to work. Why not, for example? And this is then the charging menu, for example. And very interesting is you can set here the charging limit for example, better battery care, for example, for 80 to 80%. And here in this menu here, when the battery would be cold, then it would show a limited number. And then you could here activate a battery preconditioning also manually. And Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, and wow, look at that integration indeed. And the Harman Kardon sound system is indeed, whoa, really bass intensive, but definitely also a new sound experience here for a Volkswagen. A matte cover here then, in bright or black in the dark interior. Then you have a lot of space, just like this thing here is not maybe the best build quality or could be a little bit better, but here in the bright interior I think it's also cool that you don't have high gloss black piano lacquer here. Two USB-C chargers, inductive chargers, and then also here the pads that are also hold tight the bottles also. And then you have the split opening for the armrest like this with a lot of space underneath. Indeed, this is a different luxury experience for a Volkswagen. The steering wheel heating is, feel it all the way around, so you feel it in the whole steering wheel. I've activated the seat massage also for the lower area. This is also a completely new level of seat massage, and especially for long journeys, which will work with this vehicle. This is a indeed astonishing luxury experience. And yeah, some of the options, of course, when you go for the highest trim seat and so on, but there is a lot of standard equipment also already with, with the 77 kilowatt hour battery and the head-up display and so on. So quite good standard equipment considering the price. So also, once again, the price-performance ratio of this vehicle is actually quite good, and that really will help sales. Most of the time we will use CarPlay or Apple Maps and so on, and Google Maps. But here you can see the car internal GPS is definitely way quicker and more responsive than before. So great upgrade for this new system here. Just, with the climate and also the seat heating. I think it's just easier to have separate knobs for that, but they will be coming back eventually. And of this new system, you also have these automatic vents here, the air vents. Yeah, we know that from Tesla, for example. You can also see it right here when I control them in the infotainment system, left and right, for example. Is that really needed? I don't know. To me, that's not a big progress. I am waiting for the Volkswagen interiors that go back, away from capacitive BS and more physical again. But this had already been decided before by different CEOs. So they have a new CEO now and will go in a different direction. So I am missing physical buttons with this vehicle, but still this whole software system is definitely a big step forward already. To all parents, here in the front door, this is the child lock for the rear door. Because when young children are playing in the rear and they do like this, the door is opened. So definitely use the child lock when you have young, unexperienced children in the rear. Other than that, here Harman Kardon sound system, 14 speakers when you have gone for this option. And also the rear door, soft touch at the top part with the structure and great build quality at the inside of the doors here with the bright microfiber, which would again be dark than in the other choice. Here with the blue accentuation once again, so that looks indeed pretty cool. And also because this is a dedicated EV platform, of course, there is no middle tunnel at all. The battery is underneath that, but you have a lot of space here in the rear, easily for 5 tall adults. And just look at that, how much legroom we still have. Even if I am driving in the front, this is enormous. And from a seating comfort, indeed, this is also great in the rear. Headroom, of course, this here being the fastback model, still some headroom left with 189 or 6'2". When you will have the estate model, it will be even a little bit better here for the legroom. Moving to the middle seat, of course, it's a little bit higher than, but it's still quite okay. So this definitely works very well. You can put down this here, not adaptive, the cup holders though. This is the ski hatch. And in the middle part here, lower part, we have a separate climate unit for the rear seats, and also seat heating is possible. Underneath there's 2 USB-C charging. The more and more I discover about this vehicle, the more I have to say this vehicle here will outsell most of the other EV cars on the market right now. And it's been a long time that we could say this about a new Volkswagen vehicle. So I think, yes, they still have some work to do with the software, as we saw, but they are definitely back on track. And also here, because the trunk is opening in the fastback way, and this is of course then easier to access, like in Tesla Model 3 or the Ioniq 6 and so on. The width here is a little bit less than 1 meter or 40 inches. However, the basic length is a little bit more than 1 meter or 40 inches. And the height here underneath the cover, like 44 centimeters or 17 inches. We can fold the seats from here, like this, and then it automatically goes down. That's good, actually. And to the front seats, as we would be driving as tall persons, we have here, that's actually pretty good, almost 2 meters or 78 inches. Wow. And underneath the cover, you can either store some charging cables, even more down so below, so either there, or you can also remove this whole thing to get even more height. That would be possible. Then you don't have an even loading sill, and you can also store this one, so there's like an in-between position. So like this, you slide it underneath like this. So that would be something then in between. Then you can still lift it up like this. So yeah, you're quite flexible. And then you also have this net, for example, and hook it up right here. And then you can also secure things underneath the net. And then there's the retractable towing hook. When I pull this one, it comes out underneath right here. And at 8% of incline, you have around 1.2 tons of towing capacity. And at 12%, it's 1 ton. So not too much, but of course better than nothing. I have not opened the hood yet, so this will come as a surprise to me as well. Will it frunk or will it not? Let's find out. No, it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, it's not too bad here for the wiper fluid and so on, but I think modern EV customers most of the time do demand a frunk, for example, to put charging cables and so on. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge. Acceleration with the ID.7 rear-wheel drive. Plop, that's 80. Pretty quick indeed. To 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour is less than 7 seconds. And this will count both for the smaller and the bigger battery. Here we're driving the 77 kilowatt hour battery, but the 86 kilowatt hour battery will not be that much heavier. So both in driving and also in acceleration, it won't make a significant difference. We are in the sport mode for the best boost. Also the throttle input is a little bit more sensitive, and I also have a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel. I think it's more likable. So if you rather want a softer suspension, maybe go to the individual mode, put the softer suspension, but then put the steering feedback a little bit harder. I think that's a better setup. The steering feel itself is light, but still somewhat natural. You have to steer quite a lot, yes, but they also use a progressive steering thing. So it is basically then with this increasing input, it still feels natural, but that you don't have to oversteer, so to speak. Also when parking in and out, I soon can also show that to you. Even in the sport mode, suspension-wise, I can go over these speed humps and so on. But if I want it more comfortable, going here to the comfort mode, and yeah, you immediately feel that the suspension gets a little bit softer. They reworked both the standard suspension and the DCC, so it's both, so to speak, new. And DCC will give you more comfort, but also more sportiness at the very same time. And it's very interesting that no matter in which field you set it, it always rules plus and minus. You know, it's like a certain hardness area where this suspension rules. And therefore you still have sportiness when it's comfortable and also have comfort when it's sporty, you know what I mean? So it basically serves all purposes then. Here in the city part here, also very comfortable from the seats. It's not that you would have less comfort because you sit low now in comparison to crossovers or SUVs. For long term, also from the noise insulation, it might even be better. And here once again, when we're going out of the city, we can go to the sport mode, and also when I accelerate out of the corner, for example, we have rear-wheel drive. That means I have full control over the front wheels. The whole car feels very well controllable. We have the low center of gravity. The battery basically pushes it to the ground. So it feels also like very good grip. And it is, although it is a large vehicle, really a lot of fun to drive. You don't feel the length. It has a significant wheelbase of almost 3 meters, and still it handles relatively light, again due to the rear wheel drive, low center of gravity, and also this, especially in the sport mode, good steering. Here, check it out, 90-degree bend. I don't have to steer much more than 90 degrees, so that's actually quite cool. Little bit, but that's it actually. And you can also drive it in a very smooth way, so both is actually possible. Here also when overtaking, easy, left to right. It's a lot of fun to drive, and it is more fun to drive than, for example, the crossover ones like the ID4 or the ID5, because we just sit a little bit lower. You have hardly any noise from the exterior. Here the asphalt is also, it's not like this, that super smooth asphalt, which is rather black or something, like the little bit brighter one, but there's no noise from the tires or something, and wind noise. Also the aerodynamics seem to play a big role for that. There's hardly any wind noise. Of course, at the later stage, we can also take this one here on the German Autobahn and then drive really, really high speeds. But here so far, it's a super, super silent and smooth experience. And this will, of course, help you also on long journeys. The seats here, I would go for the optional seats. I mean, base fabric seats, when you want to go it really in a budget level, will be fine, yes. But here these seats, they have more the accentuated shoulders, so they keep you tighter. And at the same time, it takes off weight from your lower back. And that makes it, again, more comfortable. You get less lower back fatigue and so on. If you directly compare it to the Ioniq 6, I feel that especially the seating comfort is indeed better. And more driving fun? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but they do come close in a way. But this one here, of course, offers more space because it's also longer. And if you compare this one here from the driving experience to the Teslas, especially the suspension, of course, plays a huge role. When you compare it to the Model 3 that doesn't have air suspension, then this suspension here is way better. The Model S then again has air suspension, and this is also doing a good job. But then again, it's much, much, much more expensive. And I told you that before, Mercedes EQE, price-wise, it's completely off. But space-wise, we even have more space here, and the interior build quality is also quite cool. So I think it can be comparable. And driving-wise, this here feels a little bit lighter and less complicated, you know what I mean? And feeling less complicated, I say something about like this about a recent Volkswagen. This is also new. So the user interface while driving, I still like to see some real physical buttons. They will be coming back at VW, not yet for this model, but we see this software upgrade, and it is quicker than before and also less buggy. So, for example, considering this is still an early prototype vehicle we're driving here, we have not seen so many faults or something that we did maybe for earlier production model versions. So they have really put a lot of effort into that. Back to the comfort mode, let's see the comparison. Also acceleration wise, let's just test it. When I, for example, in the comfort mode, hit the throttle, it's reasonably quick, definitely. And in the sport mode, hitting the throttle, to speed down a little bit. Yes. Yeah, it's not the largest difference because it's also not a performance EV, but you feel a difference. This will then be different when you go for the all-wheel drive model that is to come at a later stage. This one then with even better acceleration figure, and you will also getting pulled a little bit by the front wheels. So also looking forward to drive with that. If you subscribe and hit the notification bell, then we always keep you updated with the recent developments here. As for the recuperation, when we are in the normal D or driving mode, it is some regenerative braking, but not too much actually. Most is done yourself with the brake pedal. When you push it forward here, B mode, then a pretty strong deceleration. Is it one pedal driving feeling? I would say almost. So we have some other EVs with stronger recuperation or regenerative braking. This one not the strongest. It wasn't the emphasis of this car. And you can always argue pro and con. At the end of the day, the efficiency will be the same. It just depends on how you yourself control the vehicle. Assistance systems, not the best roads to test this here. And also gladly no traffic around, but the assistance system has been upgraded as well. For example, the travel assist can also do automatic lane changes on the Autobahn. So this will also be included when you go for that one. We can also test it at a later stage then on the Autobahn for you. Overall, the driving fun is definitely there. I'm really happy with that. Well, yeah, I wouldn't have expected it from this big vehicle, that it's sometimes more fun than to steer it with, comparing to smaller vehicles. And these electric vehicles, yes, they have the low center of gravity, but they're also very heavy. And sometimes we feel, okay, laws of physics, the weight just pushes you out of the corner. But here I don't feel it that much. And I think that some, must be connected to the fact that it's just a little bit lower. So this overall EV sedan idea, we've seen so many EV crossovers, EV SUVs. I think it's really the time for the EV sedans right now. And I'm pretty sure also, considering with this driving segment here, it's an ID.5 on a couple of ID.5s loaded on that truck. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this one here will get like sedan customers, but also when you think about like going EV crossover, EV SUV, you should also consider this one here, because with that hatch here, you don't lose any practicability, but you gain a little bit more driving fun and also more efficiency. I'm talking about the efficiency. Yeah, let's finish our round here and then check out about the efficiency numbers, because this is our second test drive now with this vehicle. And then we can find out if we can still score these really good efficient results. And also in our second test drive, we reached some 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer or 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Very impressive indeed. That would be a real world range of 500 kilometers or 300 miles for the small battery and 570 kilometers or 350 miles for the big battery. However, ideal conditions, mild temperatures, also not too high speeds. So soon we'll take you on another tour with higher speed and also different temperatures. And why is the ID.7 so efficient? It's also the drivetrain itself, not only the aerodynamics. This is here a cutaway model of the electric motor. And if you compare this one here to the electric motor or the drivetrain to the ID.3, ID.4, this one here just uses half of the energy in the cycle. That's really interesting. So basically doubled efficiency. So will this vehicle here crush the competition? That was the initial question. Exterior-wise, I think it works very well and will work very well on the market. It does look somewhat unique, but also not too much extraordinary. Interior-wise, a great styling indeed, and also great comfort. The seats are among the best overall, I think, quality-wise and also visually-wise. As for the user interface, this vehicle here was planned before they took the decision to go back to physical buttons more and more. So user interface wise, it is still somewhat complicated when you want to activate some things, but they also try to automate things, for example, with the seat cooling, seat heating, that it automatically goes on when it's hot or cold and so on, or with the moist sensor, that this combination of cooling and heating goes on to dry you actually. Also in the rear seat, there's a lot of space. Yeah, I mean, the user interface and the software, I think it could be a little bit easier, but that's the only thing I could find to criticize. What we found out as for battery and for the range so far and the efficiency, wow, really amazing. And also the price point, this price-performance ratio. Volkswagen has always been about the price-performance ratio. And the most recent cars they've been launching, yeah, we couldn't really say like, oh, this will be game changer, you know, or the Golf that is basically the benchmark in the segment. So it has been a long time that we said that a new Volkswagen vehicle will crush the market. This one will, I'm pretty certain of that from everything we've seen so far. Of course, we will keep you updated with this vehicle here and also with the competitors. So if you want to tune into the Ioniq 6 or the Mercedes EQE, yes, you can compare it to that. It's just lower in price. Check it out.